Hello everyone, this is your biology teacher Premila Gyanarani. Hope you're all safe and sound. Now let us move on to this topic with a positive attitude of gaining knowledge. Over to the session. In this session we are going to learn about few aspects of transportation system, but before moving on to this session, let us have a small recap of what we have learned in the previous session. In the previous session we learned about transportation, the systems involved in transportation system, they are the blood vascular system and the lymphatic system. Under blood vascular system, we learnt about the blood, the components of the blood, the types of blood vessels and the lymphatic system. I am sure that you are all thorough with what you have learnt in the previous session. Now over to today's topics. Today's topics are structure and working of the heart, double circulation, blood pressure and transportation in plants. Now here in this picture, you can see the external structure of the heart. The heart is a reddish brown muscular pumping organ which is situated in the middle of the thoracic cavity between the two lungs. The heart is richly supplied with blood vessels. The heart is made up of cardiac muscle and it is covered by a double-walled pericardium. Now, the heart has been divided into two halves, that is the left side and the right side. At the top of the right atrium, externally, there is a small node called as the sinoatrial node or pacemaker, from where the heartbeat generates. The heart is having a rhythmic contraction and relaxation ability, and hence one heartbeat comprises of contraction and relaxation of the heart. And this sequence of contraction and relaxation is termed as cardiac cycle. Now, let us move on to the internal structure and the working of the heart. As the picture shows, internally, the left side and the right side are again divided into two halves by the septae, and they form into the upper chambers and the lower chambers. The upper chambers are referred as atria or auricles, whereas the lower chambers are referred as ventricles. Now here the picture shows two colors shaded. That is, the two sides are colored with different shades. The left side is colored with light brown color and the right side is being colored with blue color, thus showing the different forms of blood. That is, the left side is reddish brown color or light brown in color because of the entry and exit of oxygenated blood, and the blue side denotes the entry and exit of the deoxygenated blood. Now over to the working of the heart. We all know that the pulmonary veins bring the oxygenated blood from the lungs and drain into the left atrium. When the left atrium gets filled, it contracts and the blood is pushed into the left ventricle. Now, when the blood is drained from the left atrium to the left ventricle, the atrium relaxes and the ventricle contracts. Now, what happens when the left ventricle gets filled up? The oxygenated blood is distributed to different parts of the body through the largest artery present in it, called as the aorta. Now let us move on to the right hand side. The right side of the atrium gets deoxygenated blood from the upper part by the superior vena cava and from the lower parts of the body through the inferior vena cava. Now, when the right atrium gets filled up, it contracts and the deoxygenated blood flows into the right ventricle through the septa, which is guarded by the tricuspid valve. From there, the right ventricle pushes the deoxygenated blood into the pulmonary arteries for further purification in the lungs. Now remember one thing, the right atrium and the right ventricle are guarded by tricuspid valves, whereas the left atrium and the left ventricle is guarded by bicuspid valve or mitral valve. These valves help in preventing the backward flow of blood. Now, coming to the double circulation. As we all know that two separate pathways are moving on, and separate pathways are termed as one cycle. So remember children, in one cycle, the oxygenated as well as the deoxygenated blood individually enter and move out of the heart in one time itself. That is, twice the entry of blood takes place inside the heart. And this double circulation consists of two processes. One is the pulmonary circulation and another one is systemic circulation. Now coming to the next one, blood pressure. We all know that solids exert pressure, liquids exert pressure, as well as the gases exert pressure. So, the blood, as it is known as a fluid connective tissue, it consists of pressure. So, that's why we have learned about the arteries and the veins. The blood pressure of oxygenated blood is more than that of the deoxygenated blood. Now, this blood pressure is measured using an instrument called as the sphygmomanometer. This swig consists of a glass column which is measured in meters, and inside the glass column there is a mercury. So that's why the unit of blood pressure is mm of Hg. Now, when the pressure of the blood entering the heart is more, you term it as high blood pressure or hypertension, whereas the pressure of the deoxygenated blood is referred, when it is low, you refer it as low blood pressure or hypotension. Now, as I've already told you, the contraction is referred as systole and the relaxation is referred as diastole. So, contraction of the heart refers to the systolic pressure, which is 120 mm of Hg, whereas the relaxation termed as diastolic pressure is normally 80 mm of Hg. I hope you have all seen the sphygmomanometer in the clinics. Now coming to the next one, the transportation in plants. We all know that the transportation in plants take place in an easy manner. That is, two processes are involved in the transportation in plants. One is the transportation of water and mineral salts, and another one is transportation of food. Transportation of water and mineral involve the first one, absorption of water and mineral salts from the soil by the root and the root hairs. So the root causes pressure and the water and the mineral salts enter the xylem and the tracheate vessels. Through them, it goes to the upper part of the plant body. Now, three processes are interconnected in transporting water and mineral salts. They are the pressure exerted by the root, that is, absorption of water and minerals. Second one, ascent of sap or upward movement of water through the xylem and the tracheate vessels. The third one, transpiration. So, as transpiration occurs, there is a suction pull caused by the transpiration, and hence upward movement of water takes place. Now coming to the transportation of food materials in plants, we all know that food is prepared in the leaves. So from the leaves, the organic constituents, that is the organic substances required for the growth of the plant, should be distributed. This purpose is done by the phloem vessel, and hence the food is being transferred from one place to another. This process is called as translocation. I hope you are all thorough with today's session. Meet you next time. Till then, take care of